Welcome back, everybody. Derek Sue, your East Oakland advocate. Welcome to summer. Today is June 21st, and it is the summer solstice. Today is the longest day of daylight of the year. And in Alaska, on one of my visits to Alaska a number of years ago, I was fishing the Kenai River for salmon during a July visit, a peak of the July visit, because I happened to arrange my visit to Alaska to the Kenai Peninsula, and I actually was on the Kenai River, and I was fishing, and I was fishing all day, and it finally dawned on me, where'd everybody go? And when I looked at my watch, it was actually nearly 11 o'clock at night, and it was still very bright out at that time. And typically what was happening when you're up there, there's in your rooms, you have actually black blinds to block out daylight at the hotel or at the cabin that I was staying at. And so it was very interesting visiting for extended sunlight, daylight time. And so anyway, what I wanted to talk about today was UCSF San Francisco did a study on homelessness, and that study was very in-depth. And what was nice that I was able to extract a lot of the information that UCSF verified that I have been telling these stupid politicians, our city leaders and our county leaders, that the things that they were espousing was absolutely wrong. I had two city council members here in Oakland tell me that homelessness is not Oakland residents, and that this stupid idiot of a council member or councilman said it was 82% from outside of Oakland and not Oakland residents, and he was saying only 18% of the resident or 18% of the population of Oakland were Oakland residents. Well, now this study has proven to that idiot, and he was a mayoral candidate in the last race. He finished third. That's how stupid he is. And he said the same thing back in the 90s when he was the city council president. So he is out of touch with reality. He doesn't know what's truly going on in his city. And then we have another one exactly like him who says the same stupid comment. And he currently sits as a city councilman for city of Oakland. But he's coming up for re-election, and he pretty much goes uncontested because nobody wants the job there. He has a district which is full of homeless people, and he has not presented any kind of solution to the problem. He is one of those that are the problem. And so housing has been a big issue, and we know now for a fact that the capitalist system does not work. It does not work for housing. It's great for those selling goods and services, but for housing, when that transition went from housing being different, the way that people looked at housing was very different in the 40s, 50s, even before that compared to today. And today we have the greedy SOBs ripping people off and charging outrageous sums of money. And some of you are just going to say, well, that's inflation. Well, some of that's true, but here's the thing. Housing is out of control. The housing cost is out of control because of people's greed. And people are capitalized. Some people are able to capitalize on this, and that's, well, neither here nor there. But was on a recent offer that I made for a property. The property it is a warehouse. And so what I'm looking at is setting up an agricultural, agcultural, or what do they call aquacultural business here in Oakland. And so that's why I'm looking at warehousing right now. And the reason why I'm looking at this and the aquaculture is that you can make a tremendous amount of money with aquaculture. You can be growing fruits and vegetables indoors vertically and make a tremendous amount of money. And you won't have the pest problems. It's cleaner, more environmentally friendly. But there is the thing of needing light and heating and cooling, keeping things the temperature just right. But with aquaculture, meaning that you're raising something live, and in this case, I'm looking at an old model that used to be used here in Oakland, and it was used in keeping live fish, and so aquaculture has been around a long time. And one of the name of the company that I'm talking about was called Jones and Stanley Tropical Fish, and they were at 27th near Harrison. I bought a lot of stuff there, and it was an incredibly large warehouse, and you could walk through the place and see hundreds of thousands of different types of fish. And then they had display tanks. It was an incredible operation, and that was aquaculture. While the fish weren't being eaten, they were being sold to those hobbyists like myself at the time that kept fish. But aquaculture can make you millions of dollars if you do it right, and it doesn't cost a whole lot, because a lot of the ponds and the pools that you're going to create aren't very deep. We're only talking 18 inches to 24 inches of depth, so they're not very deep. And then you can have in a typical pond nearly 250,000 fry, the larvae for white shrimp or even tiger prawns, and grow them locally, process them locally, and sell them commercially locally. And you have complete control of everything. And the nice thing about aquaculture, we are in a mild enough climate where heating and cooling of those waters, those pools for the aquaculture is not necessary, because we're raising and developing a market. And here in LA, or down south in LA, there's indoor aquaculture business that grows white shrimp, and they grow tons indoors every year and sell it only to the LA markets. A lot of the Asian markets are buying these. They buy them live, or they can buy them processed. So there's an incredible market there. Right now, those of you that say, well, what about cannabis? Cannabis has been the big thing for a number of years. And that's the thing that has caused so many problems for a lot of municipalities, because those properties were being sold, and the syndicates that came in and bought those properties, homes, commercial properties, industrial properties, they were paying $1 million plus for those properties, and the properties weren't very big. Like I was mentioning this week, that I made an offer on a warehouse, and the warehouse was close by. It was $1.288 million for 4,200 square feet with a 2,500 square foot yard in the back of the building for all the other things. Folks, this building is not worth it. There's nothing in there. and there's a lot of cleanup to do. There's a lot of damage interior wise. Then I have to do the build out, the TIs, tenant improvements, well, owner improvements in this case. And it just, just barely fits a 2-story layout for this. And so, anyway, it gives me an opportunity. That's the bare minimum that I needed for an aquaculture business and to start it. And so we have water. We have for this one with the shrimp, we don't have to use salt water. We can use fresh water on these, and so keeping a supply of water available, fresh, clean water that they can eat, breathe, and then also one of the most important things with that is having the proper protein skimmers on the water, whether it's fresh water, salt water. Proteins are one of the toxins that will kill off an entire aquaculture pool. And we're talking ponds and pools that are very large. We're talking 20 feet in length, 10 feet in width, and about 2 feet in depth. So they're large, but they're not that large. And the temperature stays pretty stable throughout the growing season for the shrimp. And your turnover rate on shrimp, you should be able to do, once you get everything established, you should be able to be harvesting every month with a rotation. And so we're talking, depending on what you're doing, even a small operation can bring in $250,000 annually on a 2 or 3 person operation aquaculture. And if you're doing fruits and vegetables, you can possibly do even better with that. And then wholesale directly to restaurants, which want fresh harvest, not store-bought stuff. So these are ideas that I've been throwing around and that are viable these days. And there's a huge demand for shrimp. Did you know that America eats, each individual eats approximately 10 pounds of shrimp every year, annually? And you think about Oakland has over 450,000 residents. Not that everybody's going to be eating shrimp, because there's folks that have shrimp allergies, but this is an incredible market that is untapped and is legal. It doesn't take a whole lot of money to start up. It does take money to start up, and then having space. And so that's why warehouse space is important. And right now, Oakland has a lot of office spaces. A lot of warehouse spaces are opening up left and right, because if you didn't know, growing cannabis is now a losing proposition, because the market is so flooded with illegal grown cannabis, plus people that are growing legally, that the market is saturated and flooded. And so wholesale costs, what a grower of cannabis, high quality cannabis, they're getting as little as $100 a pound. Back in the day, we were typically seeing $2,800 to $5,000 for a pound, and now we're talking only $100 to $1,000 a pound is typical for a grower these days. And so that's why a lot of growers are going out of business. A lot of the former grow houses are being cleared by the cities, and cities are working at trying to get rid of these illegal grow houses, and they're using drones at night. And how I know? Because I've seen them here, and this area is saturated, or was saturated, with all sorts of cannabis. Not so much anymore, because pretty much we've got 80% of the cannabis growing right here in East Oakland under control and dismantled. And so because the profit margins are so low, people are getting out of the business. They're dumping their equipment. You're seeing, cannabis growing equipment, lights and fans and everything all over the streets of Oakland. And then also the high risk to the growers. The growers are being robbed at gunpoint. In fact, I know a couple of growers not too far away where a truck was used to run through the building. I mean, literally ran through the front of the building to tear it open, and then they stole everything that was inside the grow operation. They also shot at people. They were fully armed with automatic weapons, and the growers don't have stuff like that, not down here, because everybody knows if you're a grow house and you have weapons, unless you're a security officer, a licensed security officer, it's not going to end well. And in fact, even if you shot and killed all of the criminals, or any criminal, you could be going to prison yourself for being, you're number one. The federal feds look at, you're already a felon, because that's a federal offense, growing cannabis. Number two, being in possession of a gun and drugs by federal standards is illegal and can get you in a lot of trouble. But I am still looking for housing. Just right now, the market is too crazy. There's not enough inventory. Mortgage rates are up too high. I'm not going to be using a mortgage, by the way. I'm paying all cash through my trust. My trust is buying the home for me and will maintain and pay the bills, so that my Social Security that I received will not be affected, because everything's paid for by the trust. And so things are moving along, but we have to do better, folks. We have to reduce crime, and by reducing, how we reduce crime is we get the homeless folks into housing. We get legitimate businesses back online and supplying the needs of the nation. Aquaculture and hydroponics are the wave of the future, and can be something substantial. And with the right management, right knowledge, right skills, you could make yourself a really good, safe, and long-term business with aquaculture or hydroponics. Thanks for joining me today. We'll be right back.